Naomi Clark was on her way home after a stressful day at work when she was suddenly stopped by Adam Taylor, a man with a cold appearance and suspicious eyes. Initially, Adam thought that Naomi was an unintentional trespasser into his domain, a place where he had protected Victor Steele's illegal activities. He asked Naomi to show her papers and explain the reason for being in the area. Naomi, who was not easily subdued, kept a calm but no less sharp demeanor. She quickly realized the oppression in Adam's behavior and decided not to give in. A tense confrontation breaks out, in which Naomi skillfully turns the situation around with sharp words and a tough attitude. Adam, though initially overwhelmed, gradually feels shaken by Naomi by her confidence and reason. This clash was not only the first time the two had met, but also marked the beginning of a complex chain of events. Adam didn't expect that the woman he looked down on in the first place was the biggest threat to the entire power network he served. Naomi, though she didn't realize it, took her first steps in the fight against the dangerous corruption system that Adam was a part of. Naomi Clark stood in front of a large map spread across the table, dim lights shining down, highlighting the intertwined seams that marked key locations in Victor Steele's criminal network. Her eyes gleamed with determination, but deep down was a simmering anxiety. She knew that entering this war was not only about fighting the dangerous, but also about facing the fear and loneliness in her heart. After a tense encounter with Adam Taylor, Naomi realized that she could no longer close her eyes to what was happening around her. The screams in the night, the distressed eyes of the victim she had witnessed, they all spurred her to action. But that also means that she has to sacrifice her own safety. The plan begins with Naomi infiltrating Victor's network. The first few days were a series of constant tensions, as she had to hold her ground. Posing as a petty courier, Naomi blends into the organization's activities, gradually finding ways to access important documents. Every time she faced a suspicious gaze or a sharp question, she felt her heart tighten. But Naomi quickly learned to hide her emotions, using her intelligence and ingenuity to turn the situation around. Once, while copying a confidential document in the office of one of Victor's subordinates, Naomi heard footsteps echoing from the hallway. Cold sweat ran down her forehead, and she hurriedly hid the file in her pocket, trying to stay calm before the door opened. A tall man walked in, his piercing eyes almost suffocating. But with a calm smile, she cleverly dodges with a simple explanation, a skill she has honed to survive in this dangerous environment. Meanwhile, Adam Taylor began to realize the instability in the organization's operations. He is often torn between his loyalty to Victor and questions about his true purpose in the network. Sometimes, he came across the image of Naomi in his mind, the woman he had encountered on the deserted road that day. There was something about her that made him wonder, like a piece of the puzzle that was lost in Victor's complete picture. Naomi didn't let herself be distracted. She spends every night diligently arranging evidence, connecting each piece of the puzzle to form a panorama of Victor's illegal activities. Every time she saw the tycoon's name on the documents, Naomi felt the threat and power he held. But that fear did not falter her, but only made her determination even stronger. The last night of the plan was the most stressful moment. Naomi sneaks into Victor's main office to retrieve an important file, key evidence to debunk the organization. Her hands trembled as she carefully opened the safe, and every second passed like torture. When the safe door opened, Naomi breathed a sigh of relief. But then, a strange noise from outside startled her. Someone is approaching. Naomi knew that, with one small mistake, she would lose everything. However, with an unshakable will, she is ready to face all challenges. This is not only a fight against Victor Steele but also a fight for the right thing that she believes in. Night falls on the city like a veil that hides all evil. In magnificent buildings and luxurious offices, a web of corruption is quietly operating. At the head is Victor Steele, who manipulates power and money with intertwined links to politics, business and crime. Naomi Clark, in her role as an infiltrator, saw the true face of the network, a multi-headed monster that was not easily destroyed. Naomi sat in a small cafe, her laptop open in front of her, the screen displaying the documents she had risked her life to collect. Her eyes were sharp, focusing on analyzing every detail. The dry wording in financial statements hides shady transactions, huge sums of money flowing through ghost accounts to corrupt officials and organized crime. Each piece of the puzzle gradually forms a panorama. Victor Steele is more than just an ordinary crime tycoon. He is the person behind a series of large construction projects that are abnormally funded, political policies that are unfavorable to the people but bring huge benefits to close corporations. Naomi found that even the law enforcement system was not completely clean. Some senior officials have accepted bribes to turn a blind eye to illegal acts or even be directly involved in protecting Victor's network. Meanwhile, Victor Steele sits in his lavish office, the soft leather chair with his back to the large window, from which he can look down on the city like a king observing his territory. Victor knows that Naomi Clark is active in the organization, but he hasn't figured out how to identify exactly who she is. This made him feel both challenging and stimulating, like a cat playing with its prey. Adam Taylor is also not immune to the twists and turns of this corruption network. The mysterious mission orders that Victor gave him increasingly made Adam doubt the purpose of the organization. He regularly listens to phone calls between Victor and powerful people, insinuating but clearly pointing out that Victor controls a vast apparatus far beyond the scope of ordinary crime. One night, Naomi watched a secret meeting take place at a fancy restaurant. In the stifling atmosphere of the VIP room, the rich and powerful gather to discuss the division of interests. Naomi hid in a hidden corner, holding a tape recorder, trying to record every word. Laughter rang out, but beneath the elegant masks were wolves ready to tear anyone in their way. Naomi left the restaurant with a heavy heart. She clearly felt the danger of the task she was performing. The people she confronts are not only Victor Steele but also powerful figures who have the ability to make her disappear without a trace. But Naomi didn't allow herself to stop. She believed that the truth, no matter how deeply it was buried, had to be exposed. The web of corruption that Naomi is facing is not just a criminal system, but a whole world where greed and selfishness reign. But she believes that, with her courage and wisdom, she can find a way to break each link, causing the whole system to collapse. In the most stressful days, Naomi realized that she could not fight Victor Steele's corruption network on her own. Despite her intelligence and determination, she knew that, in order to confront a power system like this, she needed reliable allies. And in that difficult situation, Adam Taylor, a man who had stood under Victor, became an unexpected ally. Adam walked into the cafe where Naomi was waiting, his eyes carefully scanning every hidden corner to make sure no one was watching. He sat down, his voice low but resolute. "I know what Victor is doing," he said, his hands clenching his coffee, as if to keep himself from shaking. "And I knew that if I didn't do anything, I would also become part of that filthy thing. I want to help you, Naomi." Naomi looked at Adam, her eyes a little suspicious. Previously, he was Victor's right-hand man, who carried out many dark missions under his direction. But through Adam's voice and eyes, Naomi felt sincerity. She decided to trust him, even though she knew it was a risky gamble. The two quickly made plans. With his understanding of how Victor works, Adam is an invaluable source of information. He revealed how Victor hid his cash flows, the secret locations where he often held important meetings, and also the weaknesses in his protection network. Adam also provides Naomi with a list of relevant officials and businessmen, helping her identify specific targets for gathering evidence. Partnering with Adam wasn't easy. Naomi realizes that he is still haunted by the past, by what he did during his time working for Victor. There were nights when Adam lost sleep, sitting quietly by the window, his eyes staring out into the night, as if looking for redemption in the darkness. Naomi is not only a teammate but also a person who helps him face his pain. Meanwhile, Victor begins to notice a change in Adam. He felt uneasy, but there was no concrete evidence to confront him. "Don't let your emotions cloud your eyes," Victor said in a private meeting with Adam, his eyes piercing his heart. But Adam, now determined to stand up for the truth, has learned to conceal his intentions perfectly. The coordination between Naomi and Adam became more and more smooth. They managed to gain access to one of Victor's close associates, who was known as the Keykeeper, for keeping all of the network's cryptography and important information. It is a dangerous task, requiring absolute precision and ingenuity. Adam plays the role of an insider, while Naomi, from behind, coordinates all actions with care. On a rainy night, they carried out a plan to break into this associate's office. The pressure and tension make both of them seem to stop breathing in the face of complex security systems and the risk of being detected at any time. But when she held the hard drive full of evidence in her hand, Naomi felt hope light up. Adam and Naomi, from two people in two opposing worlds, are now solid allies. They understand that to win this war, it takes consensus, courage, and mutual trust. And in that journey, they not only found hope for a cleaner future, but also found strength in the bond between them. When Naomi receives information from an undisclosed source that Erica Morgan, an investigative journalist who has been openly critical of Victor Steele, has been kidnapped and held in a secret facility, she understands that this is an opportunity to deal a blow to Victor's empire. Erica is not only a victim but also a living witness who holds valuable information that can help Naomi overthrow Victor. However, to rescue Erica, Naomi and Adam will have to risk everything. In the darkness of a moonless night, Naomi and Adam stood outside an old warehouse deep in a desolate industrial park. This is where Erica is held, guarded by a team of mercenaries under Victor. Adam, with a wealth of experience with Victor's workings, helped Naomi draw up a detailed plan, but she knew that no matter how careful she was, things could go off the rails. "I'll go in first, distract them," Adam whispered, his eyes fixed on Naomi. "Wait for the signal, then go to the back to find Erica." Naomi nodded, her palms drenched in sweat. She wasn't one to be easily moved, but this time the pressure and danger made her heart beat harder than ever. As Adam quietly moved forward, Naomi pulled the shotgun from her coat pocket, squeezing it tightly. In her mind, she was constantly drawing bad scenarios, but she knew that she couldn't fail. Inside the warehouse, Adam pretended to be a messenger from Victor, approaching the guards. With his sharp persuasion skills, he quickly distracts them, causing them to temporarily leave their positions. That's when Naomi took advantage to sneak in from behind. Naomi's footsteps echoed softly on the cold floor. She followed the dark corridors, where the faint light from the flickering bulbs was only enough to illuminate a few meters ahead. Finally, she found Erica strapped to a chair, her eyes still full of determination despite her exhausted body. "Erica, I'm here to help," Naomi said, her voice low but firm. She quickly cuts Erica's leash and checks to see if she is seriously injured. Erica nodded, trying to get up, but her body trembled so much that she almost collapsed. Naomi held Erica, feeling the weight of fatigue from the woman she admired for her courage. However, at that moment, an alarm sounded throughout the warehouse. One of the guards discovered the intrusion. Naomi squeezed Erica's hand tightly, her eyes flashing with determination. "We have to go right away." Adam, from the outside position, quickly turned back to assist. He shoots down a few guards, creating an escape route for Naomi and Erica. Gunshots echoed everywhere. The space was filled with smoke and the smell of gunpowder. Naomi felt every second pass as if it stretched endlessly, but she didn't allow herself to falter. As they rushed out, a truck was waiting for Adam's plan. Naomi helped Erica into the car, while Adam continued to shoot to block the soldiers' pursuit. As the car accelerates away from the danger zone, Naomi turns her head and looks back, seeing the figure of Adam rushing into a dangerous battle to ensure their safety. In the car, Naomi held Erica's hand tightly. "You're safe," she said, her voice reassuring but determined. Erica, exhausted, whispered, "We have to stop Victor. I have enough evidence to do that." The rescue was successful, but Naomi knew that this was just the beginning. Not only did she save Erica, but she also had an important ally in the tough battle ahead. And while danger still lurks, Naomi feels that hope is rekindling, stronger than ever. After rescuing Erica, Naomi and Adam begin to focus on a more important goal: to bring the truth about Victor Steele to light. Erica, as an investigative reporter, possesses authentic evidence of the criminal activities that Victor and his allies have carried out over the years. The documents she has in her hands can uncover everything from illegal transactions to dark relationships with international criminal organizations. But bringing this evidence to light is not easy, especially when their enemies are so powerful that they can manipulate the entire legal system. Naomi sat at her desk in her office, her face tired but determined. She had heard threats from Victor many times before, but this time it would be different. If we want to destroy Victor, we have to expose everything, even if it means facing danger, Naomi said, her eyes cold. Adam, sitting across from him, nodded in agreement. We need a solid foundation. Getting information out is not enough. There needs to be public evidence, strong enough to bring down his empire, Adam said, outlining the blueprint. They decided to hold a secret meeting with media and political influencers, whom they trusted would help make the information about Victor public. Erica, though weak after the rescue, is also committed to participating in this fight. She knew that if nothing was done, all their efforts would be in vain. She had witnessed the crimes of Victor and his patrons firsthand, and now she was ready to do anything to bring justice. When the meeting was held, Naomi and her team were very well prepared. Documents, videos, and audio recordings from covert conversations between Victor and his criminal partners have all been carefully collected and prepared. Everything needs to be perfect so that there are no flaws, because if they fail, not only their lives will be threatened, but also the people around them will fall into a dangerous spiral. At the meeting, the evidence was presented in a clear and detailed manner. The pieces of Victor's story are gradually being filled. However, just as Naomi was about to make this information public, a sudden phone call from a close source made her stop. Victor already knows what we're doing. He's preparing to deal with it, the person warned. In an instant, the atmosphere in the room became tense. Naomi had no choice but to keep moving forward, but this time, she faced an opponent that could not be underestimated. Victor Steele is not an easy person to beat. He had far-reaching connections in the government, in the military, and even among the elite. However, Naomi was determined not to back down. She knew that no matter how many dangers lay ahead, the evidence they had in their hands was the strongest weapon for victory. With careful preparation and the help of her loyal allies, Naomi sets out to uncover the truth. She organized a major information disclosure event, inviting reputable reporters and journalists to investigate. Videos, images, and classified documents were widely circulated in the media, making it impossible for Victor to hide his dark plots. Immediate reactions are inevitable. The investigating agencies, after receiving information from authentic sources, began the investigation. Victor, who had always considered himself invulnerable, now faced the risk of imprisonment. His associates were also exposed, and many of them were arrested. Naomi felt a fleeting relief, but she understood that the fight was not over. Guys like Victor won't give up easily. However, exposing the truth this time has made Naomi and her allies stronger, and they know that once the truth has been exposed, nothing can stop this fight for justice. Although the evidence that Naomi and her team have released has shocked public opinion and caused Victor Steele to face legal punishment, none of them believe that this fight is over. After Victor's arrest, his connections in criminal organizations and even in the government remain intact. His allies would never sit idly by, and Naomi knew they wouldn't let this matter end easily. Naomi sat in her office, the dim light of the computer screen shining on her tense face. Although they have broken the big plots, there is still a world full of traps ahead. Victor is just one part of this network, Naomi said to herself. Others are still free, and they won't give up easily. She knew that this war was not just about winning a battle, but a long-term war where the real people in power were still quietly manipulating everything from the shadows. Adam, who had been by her side for the past few days, sighed, looking at the reports and new documents they had just received. The situation has not changed. Those who are hiding in the shadows are trying to turn the tide, he said, his voice full of worry. They have received information that some government officials are seeking to erase the evidence that Naomi's team has gathered. They don't want anyone to be drawn into a fight against these underground forces. At the same time, Erica, as an investigative reporter, receives threatening calls from anonymous sources, warning her of serious consequences if she continues to publish information related to Victor and his allies. However, she is not afraid. Even though she knew she could be in danger, Erica was determined to keep fighting for the truth. We can't stop. They're not going to stop, so why should we stop, she insisted. Attacks from the enemy side became more and more fierce. One morning, when Naomi and Adam were meeting with their allies, they received news of a sudden car explosion that seriously injured one of the important witnesses. This is a clear warning that their enemies will not stop until they are completely defeated. However, Naomi's determination never wavered. She understood that the battle was not over. We need to be better prepared, Naomi said, her face full of determination. Victor may have been arrested, but this criminal network is too vast for him alone to control. We must continue to dig deep and expose all connections. Adam and Erica looked at her, clearly understanding that they would have to keep fighting, despite all the dangers. Together, they set out to develop a new plan to deal with looming threats. There is no way back, and every step they take can be a vital decision. This battle, they know, will never end until all the guilty pay the price, and the truth is finally exposed. Challenges still await them, but Naomi and her comrades have no choice but to keep fighting. After months of stress and struggle, Naomi finally felt a new breeze blowing. Although the fight against the criminal forces is not over, the light at the end of the tunnel seems to be closer than ever. The attacks have gradually subsided, and the evidence she and her team have gathered has caused some of the people behind it to start fearing. Lawsuits against corrupt officials, though challenging, have begun to attract widespread public attention. This has created the wave of change that Naomi has been hoping for a long time. Adam, a loyal companion, sits across from Naomi in a quiet cafe. They both feel the difference in the air, even though they know that there is still too much work to be done. We've done a lot, Naomi, Adam said, his voice deep but full of confidence. Although the results may not be perfect immediately, at least we have started to change something. That's hope. Naomi smiled, her eyes still hiding unquenchable anxiety, but she understood that true victory did not only come from defeating the enemy, but from perseverance and dedication to the ideal. That's right, Adam. Hope is not something vague but a motivation for us to keep going. That's why we can't stop, even though the road ahead is still arduous. She thinks of all the people who have worked with her through the challenges, the sacrifices they have made, and the lives that have been saved thanks to the team's relentless efforts. Erica, with her fearless courage in the face of danger, continued to investigate and publicize the truth about corruption conspiracies. And the people who are waiting for change, who have put their trust in Naomi's team, are a great source of motivation for her to never give up. That day, when Naomi received a call informing her that one of the people behind the criminal network had been arrested, she felt some of the pressure in her heart lighten. However, she also knew that her work was never done. Enemies can always give rise to new conspiracies, and real change only comes when the justice system can truly work fairly for all. The future may not be clear right now, Naomi said, her distant eyes staring toward the horizon. But we're not going to give up. If each of us holds on to hope, then surely one day everything will change. With renewed determination and unwavering faith, Naomi knows that the future is still challenging, but also full of hope. Every step, no matter how small, is a milestone for a more just society where truth and justice will ultimately be celebrated.